Hello everyone, my name is Sarah. I'm the CEO of Hand Heart Pocket, the charity of the Freemasons of Queensland. You guys were really inspiring, the words that you said, but also your courage in getting up and talking in front of everybody. I'm hoping I make it through without bursting into tears. You might be wondering what an organisation like ours, Hand Heart Pocket, would be here for. And I just wanted to explain that I lead an organisation that straddles two worlds. While we continue to support the traditional and local community work of the Freemasons, we have an intergenerational strategy where we want to invest into the future of Queensland, especially the young people who might not have access to all of the opportunities that they should have because they live in this amazing state of Queensland. So this today is an incredible opportunity for us older folks to listen and to hear your perspectives, to get your advice, and also to be inspired by your bravery. Tiana, wow, I hope that you grow up to be an IT executive. I think that you would be fantastic at leading the future of the design of technology for our lives and how it can empower us. I think that we shouldn't be afraid of AI. I believe that. I think we should be using it. We should be teaching our kids how to embrace and enjoy all of the amazing things that technology can let us do. We should remember as adults, we love our technology. I'm glued to my phone. Of course my kids want one too. What you've reminded me though is that I need to think about what I do and what my behaviour is and what kind of role model I am for the way that I use technology. I think you've also reminded me that our systems need to be built to protect kids and adults from things that are harmful and unhelpful that we shouldn't have to navigate in the world of technology. But Tiana, I loved what you said, that all we need to be is wise and kind. And if we can be wise and kind, we will be safe. So Stella, thank you for getting up and for being brave. I love your hair, it's gorgeous. I know what you mean about school can't. I've heard you. You've helped me to understand because I've only ever heard the term before, school refusal. And I really like that you've flipped that we need to understand that it's sometimes, even though schools are meant to be safe places, they aren't. Safety is really about whether or not you can turn up and be your whole self. And really our schools should be that. I didn't know that homeschool registrations had increased by 200%. That's kind of shocking. But you've prompted me to think, our schools in Queensland were designed in 1920. Before 1920, we didn't have high schools in Queensland. I think that was around the year that State High was built, and then the high school system was built in Queensland. But they're still exactly the same, aren't they? We still sit at square tables in square rooms with kids in rows looking at the front. We might not use chalkboards anymore, use whiteboards. I think I agree with you that schools need to be redesigned. They need to fit modern kids, not make kids fit old schools. And it's a real challenge for us, especially people who have access to the money and to the decision making, to try and think about what kids and families, modern kids and families, really need to thrive. I want to congratulate you on finding your own way through, and to your family for supporting those choices. It's pretty amazing to hear that you're pursuing a bachelor degree. Congratulations. And like I said to Tiana, Stella, I hope that one day you become a decision maker in our businesses and in our schools and in our policy settings so that you can make schools a better place where kids can find themselves and bring their whole self to school. Olivia, thank you for talking to us. I really appreciated that you had the bravery to get up here and talk to us. You helped me to understand, and you reminded me that we can do things that make us uncomfortable, that we can embrace that and get up and do them anyway. It's really inspiring. Again, schools need to be a place that give you all the support that you need. And it can be really heartbreaking to hear these stories about kids who've learned how to advocate for themselves and ask for what they need and still be told no, and still be told, and this is from my own personal experience, my daughter being told by a school, just drag yourself through it, it will build your resilience. Which is a terrible, terrible thing to say to a child. I am very inspired, Olivia, by the fact that you have found your purpose, that you know what you love, that you've identified your strengths, and that you're going to use those strengths to make a contribution. I think you would be a wonderful early childhood teacher, and one day you will run a childcare centre, an early learning centre, that will be inclusive and give all of the children in your care all the things that they need. Grace, you did a great job. I didn't understand, I don't think, the extent and the impact of school on the mental health of kids with autism. I didn't know that was the major reason that kids change schools. I do know from personal experience again that changing schools can actually be a really good thing. But it's not generally a good thing to have to change schools multiple times to try to find a place that will help you to learn. But you're absolutely right. All students should get the supports they need, whether they have disabilities, learning difficulties or not. And they should, our mainstream schools shouldn't just be the mainstream, should they? They should be the broadest stream possible that has a place for every child. And I really agree with you and love to hear you talk about advocacy and self-advocacy. It's such an important skill, and you all of the young people that have gotten up on stage have demonstrated how fantastic they are at advocating for themselves and for other young people. It is a skill that we need to teach our young people. But what we need to do as adults is to listen. And Sandvi, thank you. Peer pressure is a really insidious thing. I've seen it in the affect the young people in my own life. Thank you for the reminder about how hard it can be to swim against the tide. It can be really hard. It's like, and that analogy was fantastic. It's like being in the surf and having to dig your feet into the sand to be able to hold your own ground. It's a really hard thing to learn to do. But it's really encouraging to hear that you've come to that understanding already at the age of 11. I think I was probably about 25 before I started to understand that. You will be a fantastic role model for your friends. I think all our kids can create those spaces where their friends are accepted, no matter how they look, how they sound. And I really admire you for embracing individuality, creating spaces where you can be your real self and accepting all of your friends when they turn up being their real selves too. I really think that what you said about extracurricular activities is important, and I think that kids should be given the opportunity to find their tribe, to try lots of different things and to see who it is and where they fit. So in summary, I think it's been a really timely reminder that while schools are meant to be safe places, often they're not. But I think it's a challenge for us as the adults in the room to listen to our advocates and to actually take on board the things that they're telling us. There's a challenge in front of us to redesign school to fit kids so that kids don't have to fit school. And from commitments from me, in my job, we've recently set up a new program so that we're inviting in young people as advocates and advisors into our organisation. And my commitment to you is that I will ask questions instead of make statements. I'm not very good at that. I need to do that more, that I will listen to understand, and that I will take seriously and take on board and challenge my fellow executives and board members and decision makers to ask them whether they have truly listened when young people speak. Thank you.